Hi there! Today I'm going to be reviewing LEGO 4221 Technic NASA Artemis Space Launch System rocket. It comes with 632 pieces for $60, which is actually pretty good considering how overpriced Technic can be. But let's go into the review. Now, as I said in the intro, this is set 4221 Technic NASA Artemis Space Launch System rocket with 632 pieces for $60 and 4 microfigures. This is actually a really cool set. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Technic in general, I just don't really like the pins, this is a great set. It comes with one phenomenal function, and that is that it actually launches. And I'm just going to show it to you a couple times because I just believe it's just that good of a function. Yeah, this is genuinely a super cool function, and it has an actual noise that is created to simulate the sound it makes while launching, which while it isn't particularly accurate to an actual rocket, it is a super nicely designed item, and it's such a great touch. The way that they added that noise is actually super ingenious, and I can actually show you it since the base can open up and you can see inside. As you can see, the entire function is just based off of these gear ratios, which one of these have been specifically designed to be super slightly loose so it can make this noise, which is just a super smart technique used. Like genuinely massive props to the designers for that technique since it's just super good. Also, when fully extended, this build is actually super tall. Like I measured it and it was over 2 feet tall, which is insane, especially for a $60 set. However, I will say that almost 80% of all of the parts in this set is just from the base, and maybe 100 to 200 parts are just from the actual rocket, which on one hand is good, since it means that its base is more stable, since if it had a smaller base, it would probably topple over super easily. But on the other hand, you're getting like a $20 rocket and a $40 black box basically, which is fine because it's still really big. Another problem I have, and I don't know if this is just my set or if a bunch of people's sets also have this, but sometimes the flame piece on the left side gets stuck on the base. But I don't know if that's an issue of just mine or a bunch of other sets too. Also, this set comes with a crap ton of stickers for just a $60 set. Now don't get me wrong, it's nothing like Monkey King McGapos level to have like 200 stickers. But it has more stickers than most other sets in its price point. It has like 14 or 15 stickers, which is a pretty high amount considering the price point on this set, and most of the stickers are just on the side engines. I will say the techniques being used in this set is just insanely cool and are better than most other sets, since not only in order for this rocket ship to be able to blast off, it needs the sides to separate, then the top does too, making the entire thing separate, which is genuinely a really cool idea. The way they do it though is the most impressive part. For the side engines to separate, it is on these beams, and the way it separates is that it follows the shaping of this piece of just gravity, and it really effectively simulates it actually disconnecting from the main rocket. It's such an ingenious technique used, and it does really feel realistic and connects back in super cleanly. Now that is impressive, but what is even more impressive than that is how the top disconnects. And I think it's better if I show you from the back. Yeah, it's just so impressive how they use a chain piece and some string to pull it upwards. It's especially impressive how the small part isn't even connected to the rocket, and it would be able to fall out purely from gravity. But it doesn't, since the designers actually thought about that and added in this axle and beam system, where if it goes too high, it will hit the top, which is a really good design. And genuinely, massive props to the designers for this one. It's just so impressive, and the technique used on this is so good. However, something I don't like about this set is how the main rocket is designed. Now, I've got no problem using the rounded container parts to create the rounded shaping. In fact, that's basically the only way a rounded shape can be created of this magnitude. But something I really don't like is the blue Technic pins, since they really stand out. Now, I am talking to you right now, LEGO. Would it really be that hard to create these blue Technic pins in orange? Like, come on, it couldn't be that hard. Other than that, though, I've got no other thoughts on the main model. But let's talk about the 4 microfigures in the set. Now, I am very happy they created microfigures for this set, because a rocket is huge. Some would even say Titanic. And if you put a minifigure next to it, it feels so much more microscopic. But these things should really be hugigantic. So the fact that they included microfigures to make it feel much larger is great. And to be fair, if the rocket was something like the $270 NASA set we got a while back, then I would have said that we definitely needed some sort of minifigures. But these work great for what they are. But let's go into the conclusion. Usually, I would ask you to subscribe, but y'all have been actually subscribing a lot. So if you want, subscribe. But let's go into the video. Alright, now that we're back from a regularly scheduled ad break, let's talk about the pricing for the set. Now, this set comes with 632 pieces for $60, which in theory is pretty good. However, a lot of the parts go into just creating the base and the function, and you really only spend a quarter of a set creating the rocket. Now, that said, this thing is still 2 feet tall, which is insane for a less than $75 set. But I would have loved if it was still a $50 or even $55 set. But by no means am I complaining about the price point, because it's still pretty good. Overall, I'd have to rate this set a solid 8.7 out of 10, purely because it is just such a nicely designed set. But the blue pins do stick out a lot, in the fact that most of the build is in the rocket. That's all for this video. Goodbye.